Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge. I'm here with another commentated gameplay video. This is round 2 of the 3 shop locals we had this week. So on the left we have, once again, Andrew on Earth Nexus, and on the right we have Owen on Chronodile Turbo. He was the one I fought on Chronodile in last week's video, who I double cross scorched. So let's get into it. So starting off, our Chronodile player unfortunately has to mulligan twice. Andrew does not mulligan at all. Owen will start off with a Chronodile to immediately heal back some of what those spirits he mulliganed away, and sets 2 in the back. Andrew will start off not by challenging the Chronodile, just by going with a good old Ass Rabbit open. The Chronodile isn't like much of a threat right now, especially since the remaining spirits in Owen's underworld, I believe, are both solar. So he can't heal. Yeah, they're both solar, so he can't heal any more than he already has. So he just safely goes for the Ass Rabbit, just establish some board presence. When he starts going for stuff and starts running into those back rows, he'll have the Ass Rabbit 5 defense as some security for anything that goes RE to keep his life safe and get to his hand whatever he needs for this matchup. Owen summons an Aphros in defense. This isn't going to be able to do a whole lot because he doesn't have the spirit banks he would need on the field and able to Nexus without losing one of his Elestrals on the board. So he's not really able to utilize what Aphros is able to do, and at the same time, he's not able to challenge the Ass Rabbit either. Andrew is going to go into a Viscerous now, start challenging this board. If the Viscerous beats over either of those cards, it is going to spawn another Viscerous and start spiraling this game out of control. Neither the Aphros nor the Chronodile, whichever one survives, is going to be able to beat over the defense mode Viscerous that will be summoned in that case. So instead he will be shielding it, which temporarily gets the problem out of his hair. He did spend 2 water spirits for that play, so Chronodile is going to once again have the means to heal, but he will instead, Owen will instead be going for Sundial. Andrew reveals the PTA a bit early, but it's not going to be used here. There's a much better place to be used here, as we demonstrated last week. So the Sundial is going to be able to expend a water to expend 1 to attach a water from the spirit deck to itself, and in the end phase it is going to ascend into a Nomodile, hoping to get into the Chronodile on the next turn. However, that PTA that Andrew has face down is going to be able to flip up and pay 3 to kill it. So this is one of the most profitable uses of PTA you can possibly get, and one of the core problems with the Chronodile Turbo is that, okay, if your opponent has the PTA, you go 3 spirits to kill their Nomodile that they spent 4 spirits on getting out. It's a really, really bad exchange. And it's even worse if they just have the Earthquake or the Laurels or whatever other removal. You're almost always going to go positive in a way that a lot of removal often isn't in this game, just because of how much it costs for Sundial to convert into the Nomodile. Andrew is going to go right back into the Viscera, threatening this once more. And we're back in the same board state as we were before. Gorgon's Gaze will stop the Viscerous from attacking in and delay this a bit more, but we really need a way to actually deal with this Viscerous. And it might be here if I caught the glimpse of what that card is correctly. Yep, right here is the Galaxy. So Galaxy will be a 5/2 and we'll be able to crash into the Viscerous and get rid of it. However, that also does not truly deal with the problem because, once again, because Viscerous crashed, it will still get its effect that spawns another Viscerous. So there will now be a new Viscerous on the board that is going to be able to switch to attack position and continue threatening Owen's board and continue threatening to run away with the game. So the Galaxy really does not really resolve the core issue. It kind of delays it, dilutes the number of Viscerouses available in the deck, so dilutes how bad this could get out of control. But the current scenario is really, really not good for Owen. And Andrew will be going into a Mudlet. which will allow him to threaten to clear this entire board, switching the Aphros to attack position for the Mudlet to beat over, and then the Viscerus is going to be able to beat over the Trogwa. He's considering switching the Ash Rabbit to attack position to get in for 1 damage, but he decides against it, just clearing both and getting another Viscerus, the last in his deck, onto the board, giving him a full field to Owen's 0 Elestrals and no back row. It is just an extremely dominant position, and it's hard to see how Owen comes back from this. We would really need something like extremely perfect. We get the Galaxy, and that's going to take out the defense position Viscerus. However, the Viscerus is still going to be able to crash in, or he's just going to be able to re-enchant the Mudlet to switch the Galaxy to defense position and just beat over it once more. Or he could have something else. He seems to be thinking about something here. He's going to Ambrosia to heal up a bit. Never bad to use that. In a deck like this, you don't really need to worry about holding it for getting back specific spirits for a specific play, because there are exactly 2 types of spirits in the Earth Nexus deck, Earth and Thunder. You will maybe occasionally see some waters in there too for Tsunami, but only those 3 at most. It really does not need to worry about the spirit math so much. He has another copy of Mudlet, so instead of re-enchanting to the Mudlet, he is going to choose to fill out his board once more, and at the same time get that Galaxy to defense position so he can beat over it with ease, and then go in for 3. Extremely dominant position. It's hard to see how Andrew could possibly lose from here. Owen is going to Ambrosia to try and get himself back into this game a bit. And he's going to go into the Plucky to get the Poseidon. Maybe he has like a Tsunami in hand that he's going to try and set up to go into a hard Chronodile with. But he only has those 2 cards in hand, so it's unlikely. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he could have that possibly set up, and he didn't set any back row. So this Plucky is just going to chump block and is just going to deck thin. It isn't really going to get him out of this spot. The Mudlet is going to re-enchant, letting Andrew get in for 4 more damage while switching the Plucky to attack so that I can be easily taken out by Mudlet. Owen is just going to scoop there. We will be going into game 2 with Andrew's victory in game 1. Our second game will be beginning with Owen taking the lead since he lost last game and got to 2s. He was going to be opening with a Plucky, much stronger start than the last game. Didn't have to mulligan at all. Getting that Poseidon to hand, which means he is going to be able to immediately start threatening the possibility to hard ascend into the Chronodile, and he's going to set 2 back row that can allow him to protect the Plucky. Andrew's going to start off a bit passively again, which can be a bit spooky in this scenario where he has a Poseidon. He could just hard ascend into the Chronodile at any time, but he is going to acquire the resources he needs, not threaten the Plucky. Of course, there's always the possibility he has an Earthquake, but it does seem, yeah, he is just passing here. So it is Owen's turn, and if he has that Chronodile, he's going to be able to immediately go into it. So let's see if he has it. He's going to start with a full Poseidon, and he is going to Nexus. Yep, and he is going to go straight into the hard ascended Chronodile. Andrew attempts to PTA, but doesn't realize that it is already non-targetable with 3 spirits enchanted to the Poseidon and 3 spirits enchanted to the Chronodile. Chronodile is going to attack into the Ash Rabbit since it can't use its effect without becoming under-enchanted and killing itself. And Andrew is in a really rough position here. It is still possible to get out of. Earth can just crash into a Chronodile by getting out a Demeter plus a Mostation or a Viscerus, and you could potentially use like Altar of Stars to be able to threaten that, okay, even if you Tsunami me, I'm going to be able to switch back to attack position and attack in again. He is going to use the Elechick, and that is going to allow him to get the Demeter to potentially put him in that position that can potentially win him the game. Get him into this winning position. But Owen is going to stop that with Gorgon's Gaze preventing that route and putting him in a position where he kind of needs to just hard draw into it. And Andrew is just going to scoop up game 2. A bit preemptive, I feel, because it was going to be a bit before Chronodile actually killed you. You had some time to see if you could draw into the Demeter over your next couple turns. He did have the Moss Station to threaten it, and one of the back rows that he could have potentially used to keep the Chronodile in the game is now gone. But he is going to scoop there, and we are going to go to game 3 with Andrew getting to choose who will be going first for this final game of the set. Andrew will be starting off since he went first. Owen had to mulligan once. Andrew's going to start off with the Echolinks and 1 back row, which is not necessarily a great start. The Echolinks isn't going to be able to do anything here, but it is just a body on the board. Hopefully that back row is something a bit more real. And Owen is going to start off with the Sundial, immediately threatening the capacity to turbo into the Chronodile. However, this could just once more be the PTA that will be able to stop this plane in its tracks and go extremely positive. And it will be the PTA once again. Again, trading 3 spirits for Owen's 4 and completely shutting down this Chronodile play and leaving Owen's board completely open. Very, very good position for Andrew to be in. Andrew is going to Ambrosia. Again, with this deck, you don't really need to worry about saving the Ambrosia for any specific spots. But there might be something to holding it just to not give away what the cards in your hand are. Not dwindle the potential options your opponent has to be worrying about. But Andrew is going to just re-enchant onto the Echolinks, be in for 2. The hand does not seem to be super great here. Probably would have been better to expend to draw instead to try and fix whatever woes we're facing here. The Galaxy is going to come down and be able to beat over the Echolinks, which is only a 4 attacker here, while the Galaxy is a 5 attacker. Andrew will have another PTA. However, Galaxy has some stupid rulings associated with it. Basically, when you have multiple continuously applying stat modifiers, the additions and subtractions are applied in the step before the swap from Galaxy is. So even though Galaxy has taken a -2 to its attack from poison-tipped arrows, it will be immediately swapped to its... It will swap after that, so it becomes a 5-0. So it is still able to beat over the Echolinks. Owen is going to Ambrosia to heal up a bit of what he lost from the Nomodile being countered earlier. And he's going to swing in, take out the Echolinks before his own Galaxy is destroyed. Really, really annoying interaction. I'm not a big fan of that interaction. I'm not a fan of that particular rule. And from what I gather, a lot of people aren't a fan of that particular rule. Andrew is going to take his move, though. He has drawn into another creature. He has gotten the Moss Station. It would probably be best just not swing in with this. Just play passively a bit, make it a 6 attack wall. But Andrew's going to swing in, wanting that damage instead. If he had decided not to attack with it, it would have been a situation where it's like, have Eddie, or you can't answer this. It would put him on having Owen on having specifically Eddie to answer this, because there's no other simple way for this water deck to answer a 6 attacker like that. But Owen did have that Eddie anyway, so it didn't matter. It's merely a hypothetical. But you couldn't know for sure that he had that. Andrew is going to Earthquake on the Eddie to keep control of the board, because it seems he does not have a spirit to cast, so he's going to have to expend to draw to get himself into a better hand. This might be indication of a hand that would have been better to mulligan with that weak opener and not having any follow-up Elestrals either. Owen is going to play down another Galaxy. Andrew's just going to take that hit, and he is going to go into an Astrabbit, which is going to help him fix this hand of his, while also walling out the Galaxy. Since the Galaxy is a 5 attacker into a 5 defender, it won't be able to get over it. Owen will need something bigger if he wants to get over that. However, there is always the threat against this deck that they could just drop a Poseidon at any time and go into a normal Ascended Chronodile, which is just extremely threatening, especially with the state of Andrew's hand at the moment, where he definitely does not have the means to put up the answer to Chronodile he would need to present. He's going to pass it over to Owen after setting down some back row. And yeah, as I suggested, is the threat that could always occur. Owen just slaps down the Poseidon, ascends into a Nomodile, and then the Nomodile, no, he's going to hard ascend into the Chronodile. He played down the Nomodile accidentally, but just going to hard ascend into the Chronodile, giving no window where this Chronodile will be non-targetable, because there are already 6 spirits enchanting on the board. The exact same board state that led to Andrew's scoop last game. And this is one of those big threatening things about Chronodile going into this format with only 1 Earthquake and 1 Laurels. It's a lot easier for them to get into these board states. If you don't have the PTA specifically for Nomodile, that can also be a threat. It's a very scary situation if you are not a deck that is carrying some sort of other out. Like, you really need like Dense Fox in your sideboard to give you a way to turn off the non-targeting. Alternatively, you can be playing a deck like Kuribis that has non-targeting removal, or Keyleth, or Rhino Sect. All of those have removal that is non-targeting and is thus going to be able to destroy the Chronodile, even if they do get that minimal amount of board presence they need to go straight into the Chronodile. And yeah, Andrew is just going to scoop up once more, deciding not to try and find way it out. Like, again, I feel that those scoops were very preemptive. He had a lot of spirits left. He could have waited out for like at least a turn more. It was going to be at least another turn before he could start popping things with the Chronodile and really start getting in. And he always had to worry about the threat of one of those back rows being a shield. And there was a potential out in the Earth Nexus deck to get over that Chronodile. But yeah, that is going to be the round. It is going to Chronodile Turbo over Earth Nexus. Andrew's deck will be going up on the screen right about now. Same list as last videos, of course. And with that said, this is Hunter Surge signing off.